So what we all want to do as vegans is shorten the timeline it's going to take for the world to go vegan. As we discussed in earlier lessons, according to Dr. McDougall, more than half of the climate change gases are coming from animal agriculture. So vegans have a huge opportunity to create a much better future than we might expect if we just look at the slow rate of adoption we're going to get through highly technologized approaches. I look at it as the difference between technology and ecology. Ecology is always faster than technology, but you know we've lived in a very technocratic society because technology has provided a lot of leverage. You know, whether it's in war or extracting minerals from the earth, and let's face it, there's a destructive aspect to technology, whereas ecology is really aligned with our nature. And I'm not obviously I'm using technology to share this message. I'm not a luddite exactly. Maybe I'm a neo luddite. You know, I only want to stop the technologies I don't like. Right. So we're all kind of like that. But rather than what I'm against, the thing I'm really for is people being healthy, animals having their rights, ecology, ecosystems flourishing, and the real situation we're in right now is that our animal companions are like the canaries in the coal mine, the earth being the coal mine, and we're eating the canaries. We're killing off the very species that are telling us we have to change course. So there's a kind of urgency with this. So how do we shorten the timeline? Well, in the previous lessons, we've talked about these new opportunities, and the shortening of the timeline is using these using finance as a mass marketing opportunity that speeds up the education. Again, when we look at the case study for Beyond Meat, first they had 10 years of private investment rounds. And what does that mean? That means that the general public, whatever they wanted to teach the public, was postponed by 10 years. And then all of that capital that they raised from, highly wealthy sources, that capital goes into their marketing budget. So it's a very inefficient use of capital, actually, because, again, if they could educate broadly by marketing their investment products from their very first capital rounds, now that adds a whole layer of marketing and education so that by the time their products reach the market, people are well educated, they're more ready to try. And so this is something that basically all vegan companies need to be doing. And if you're watching this, if you're a particularly wealthy investor, I encourage you to consider the advantage of using the strategies we laid out in the prior lesson. Like, rather than putting $1 million into a company where you're a small player, with that same $1 million, you could invest $100,000 in 10 companies, and those companies could use that money to seed their capital marketing strategy and go raise, let's say, to the first 5 million. Now, this is sort of perfect results, right? If we can get, everything perfect, but 10 companies times 5 million is 50 million. And now 5 million is not the end of the public offer opportunities. So, that's something called regulation crowdfunding in the US. Under Regulation A, those companies can go on and raise another 75 million. So that means, in a sense, each $100,000 or $200,000 put into vegan startups has the potential of a straight path to the first $80 million of public capitalization from the broad public investor market, as we've described, with $3 trillion in the hands of vegans and $30 trillion in the hands of the larger cohort of environmentalists. There's no shortage of money. There's no, we're not asking people to take high risk stakes. We're asking people to invest $100 or what they can afford to lose, right? These are high risk investments. But by distributing the risk and doing the mass marketing through these stages. Now, a person, say, with $1 million, let's say